guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Ken, and today we're here to talk about and review Beetlejuice Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Beetlejuice times 2.
Yeah, and judging by the box office, there will most certainly be a Beetlejuice Beetlejuice.
I mean, you kind of have to, right?
Looking over my shoulders to make sure he doesn't pop up.
There definitely, has to be one.
Yeah, I mean, they set it up with that title.
Right.
I mean, I'd say with all the money it made, there's just no way at this point there won't be a Beetlejuice 3. But
Yeah.
Does it deserve another movie? That's what we're going to talk about here today in this review. But before we get into it, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk about movies and TV shows, and we do a lot of fun stuff on this channel. You'll enjoy it, so hit the subscribe button. Also,
yeah, like this video.
like the video, like she said, and then we're about a week and a half removed from the release of Beetlejuice. So if you saw it in the theaters, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're going to see it still, let us know in the comment section below.
Yeah, for sure.
So where to start with this one?
Well, I always like to talk about...
You like to set us up.
I always like to talk about if I was excited to see this, what I was...
You definitely were.
What I was, thinking going in. So yeah, for me, Beetlejuice was my #1 most anticipated of 2024.
Oh Lord, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, how do you not know that?
Well, my #1 was Alien Romulus, and I still haven't seen it.
Exactly. So yeah, I was definitely excited for Beetlejuice 2. I mean, I love the original Beetlejuice. I, wasn't expecting the second one to be as good as the original by any means, but I was just very curious about this movie and how that they were gonna do it here in 2024, because Beetlejuice came out in 1987.
88.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a year after I was born. But yeah, so all that to say, I was really excited to see this. Lots of anticipation building to it. I got me some merch to wear to go.
I mean, this is a movie that, we've talked about this before, but we watched this movie all the time together. Like, I think we started watching it together when we started dating. Like, it was just a common movie for us.
Yeah, but I feel like you make it sound like we watch it, once a month.
I feel like there for a little bit, we haven't as much in recent years, I feel like, but I feel like there for a little bit we had a stretch where we watched it every year.
You think?
It was almost like a tradition.
See, I honestly don't remember
we watched
that,
it a lot together.
But yeah, I got the shrunken head, so I was super excited. But yeah, and you
I had an interesting journey with this movie.
We're not talking about what it was.
No, I understand. I understand that. I'm not talking about the movie.
Okay. We're not there yet.
But I've been watching Beetlejuice since I was a kid. I watched the movie probably when I was 3 or 4 years old. It was just one of my favorite movies ever growing up, and it's still one of my favorites of all time. It's probably top 5 or top 10 movies for me. Mm-hmm. When this got announced, I was like, I don't need this. Beetlejuice is such a standalone story to me.
Right.
I'm just you can't top that. And I've already seen Tim Burton try to go back to the well before, and he's done stuff like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I don't know. I just didn't trust him. I didn't trust him to be able to handle this again. So,
well, you are like this though with a lot of remakes.
I am like this.
Or not necessarily remakes, but just
Yeah, I didn't like the first trailer, but I kind of warmed up to it as we got closer. It got exciting. The promotion was cool. You could tell that Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara, the cast, they were all engaged and they were all acting pretty positively about the movie. It was a positive experience. So I'm like, you know what? I'll give this movie a chance. So that's kind of how I felt going into it.
Yeah.
I was more optimistic about it. I was not going in there with my arms crossed. I was open.
Which I was afraid of.
To what we were going to get, and I was just hoping for an enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
At the very least.
So, just getting right into the movie. Like you said, it's been over a week since we saw it, and I still am, which we said this about Strange Darling as well, but I feel like I'm still just working through what this movie was, what I thought about it. It was just,
At this point, it feels like a dream. Like it didn't even happen.
It definitely was very Tim Burton. I feel like he was definitely just he was just ready to make the most
But
crazy,
yeah,
bizarre, Beetlejuice comeback that he could. And I feel like he definitely delivered on that aspect of it. But to me, that's not necessarily a good thing. This movie was kind of a mess.
I thought it was atrocious. Like
Yeah.
I'm not even gonna be I'm not even gonna be nice to this movie at all. I just thought it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. I'll be honest. Like I just thought it was a complete shit show, disaster, mess of a film.
Yeah.
Really, like I just don't even understand how somebody could get away with like writing a script like this. Like how
Right.
this actually passes through Hollywood and Tim Burton is willing to make this. Like, because this is like his, like, I know other people wrote it, came up with the idea of Beetlejuice, but like that was like his original like movie. Like Pee Wee Herman wasn't really an original idea. Like Batman wasn't really original, but Beetlejuice and Edward Scissorhands were like his two like original films. So I just don't understand why he would want to taint that with just what I think is just one of the worst scripts I've ever seen. Like put the film. I just
Yeah,
thought it was horrible.
it just it had, I've heard a lot of people say this. It was just very messy. All the characters had these like individual storylines going on, so there was just a lot of plot, I guess.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like each character needed its own little like storyline. I feel like this could have been just like a lot more focused, perhaps.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
I kind of struggle with it just because, Beetlejuice is this like bizarre character. So on, one part of me is like, man, this is a mess. But another part of me is like, it's kind of fitting because Beetlejuice is so crazy and spastic
And to be fair, like we're looking at the original with these nostalgic glasses. It's like we've talked about this before, but a lot of people that see Beetlejuice for the first time now, like they might
don't
think
usually
that's
like
a mess.
it. Yeah.
But to me, like I just feel like the original Beetlejuice is one of the best like original stories ever. And I do think it has a nice flow to it, and I do think the original Beetlejuice is very focused.
Yeah.
And has a through line to the story.
Even though we're pretty sure Beetlejuice 3 will happen, maybe
where do you go from there?
Maybe there was a part of him that thought that it might not happen, and so he kind of just wanted to like go all out and do all of this stuff with the second one for just in case he doesn't get a chance again or something. Again, without trying to compare it to the original, obviously this is the second movie of it, so you kind of have to. But to me, this movie did not feel like Beetlejuice.
No.
You've got all these characters returning, and for the most part, these people that were in the first one, they felt like their characters. But then again, not all of them did. I mean, honestly, I wasn't really that impressed with Michael Keaton as Beetlejuice.
No, and the way they reveal him is so like, and maybe that was the point. Like maybe they just thought that was funny to just like bring him in the movie and to like have no build up to it at all.
It was
but I'm just
very
like,
anticlimactic.
The first in the first movie, it's so great. Like when he's revealed, he comes out of the grave, like flies into the sky, and it's like there's nothing like that.
Yeah, and I mean, they're not gonna just like repeat and do that again.
I get it. Yeah, I get
but,
it. But it's like, why do it again? Like that's my point.
Yeah.
Just don't. If you don't have anything good to do, then just don't do it. Like, it almost feels like they're trolling us at this point.
It just, I don't know. I feel like he probably did the best that he could as far as getting back into Beetlejuice, but I don't know. It just wasn't quite there for me.
He just felt like old man Michael Keaton doing Beetlejuice.
Yeah,
I'll be honest.
It just wasn't quite there for me, unfortunately.
But I will say I think he did a good job as Batman, like in The Flash, like bringing that character back. Mm-hmm. But like with Beetlejuice, I just wasn't feeling it.
And then we've got Lydia. I think we both agreed that it did not feel like her either.
No, Winona Ryder. I'm not saying she was terrible, but like she did not feel like Lydia. She felt like the mom from Stranger Things.
Yeah, I know that her character has like evolved, based on the story that they gave us in this movie.
Yeah.
She's
got a kid now and everything. So.
Yeah, she's gone through some stuff. She definitely, from what she experienced with the house in Beetlejuice. Like she's gone, without spoiling anything, she's definitely like evolved. So I get that she might not act exactly the same.
She's way too frantic in this movie. Maybe that's the mom coming out of her, but it's like Lydia is very just like low key and just
right.
My life is, or I like the strange and unusual. Like, could we not get one scene of Lydia like moping around a little bit?
Well, I think maybe what it is, if you think about it, now that we're talking about this out loud, you do get a scene where she is definitely processing things and she has some trauma. She's got a scene where she's been taking medication because of things. And so I think maybe that could be where that's coming from.
Maybe.
She's going through some mental things. And so she's just not the same person anymore. I don't know if they were like really going that deep or not. But just to give her the benefit of the doubt. And then, you've got Catherine O'Hara. Is it O'Hara or O'Hara? I never know.
O'Hara, I think.
To me, she was probably the best part of this movie.
She was the best of the like original cast coming back.
Yeah,
for sure. Like actually feeling like her character.
Yeah, she felt like her to me, and I just feel like she still has it. She's, I just feel like she was great in it. And then I'm trying to think. Do we have?
But Justin Theroux was terrible. Like that's just somebody. I feel like they were trying to make him like the Otho character, I guess, in this movie. But I don't know. I just didn't like his character.
I don't even know who that is.
The guy who loses his pants, at the end of Beetlejuice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like the dim-witted, just stupid guy who's kind of schemy and sleazy.
Yeah. Yeah, so, we got the newer characters, Jenna Ortega, she's literally the same in everything, just very bland, boring.
Yeah.
Didn't really care for her.
And she's got everybody's got like subplots, and I feel like their subplots got subplots. Like there's so many stories, like you don't even really understand like what the main story here is.
Mm-hmm.
Like they come back to the house because they got to clean it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the story. I feel like.
Well, they're like you said, and like I said earlier, there's so many plots going on with all the characters. So, just very, very messy. And then I'm trying to think. They definitely I did think that the soundtrack was good. I feel like they tried to bring the original score with maybe like an updated version of it. It felt a little different.
I'll throw out a positive. I love the opening.
Yeah.
Like, because they had like the old school, like, going through the town with the fonts. And I feel like it went on for a while, too, just like the first one.
It did.
So I was like, all right, maybe this is going to be good. Maybe there's hope.
See, to me, that felt a little on the nose. I actually, even though I loved that in the first one, I was kind of like, I don't know.
But I feel like the first 5 minutes I was out. Like I was out very quickly in this movie.
Yeah.
And that's when I just kind of tried to shut my brain off and just like enjoy it for what it was.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't.
It had some fun parts for sure. I do think I laughed a few times. But overall, there were a lot of times as well though where I was kind of like, what the is happening? Like there were the choices that they did with like some of the dance scenes. There's like this really big, like at the end, which I felt like they were trying to compare it to the iconic dinner scene in the first one. It just did not even compare to me. I hated the song choice, and it like lasted forever, and I just did not think that it was good at all, and I just could not wait for that part to end. Like it was just so bad in my opinion. But again, I do feel like, I don't know if I don't know. I feel like there are a lot of people that really liked it though,
well,
which is
we can
interesting.
Get into that.
Yeah.
Like everybody has a right to their own opinion, but I don't understand it. I don't understand how this movie has an 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, or 78 or something like that.
There's people who are saying that they're
crazy.
Like going out and seeing it again and again, and I can't imagine honestly sitting through that.
I think it's awful. Like I really truly think it's an awful movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Willem Dafoe. That's another positive.
You did, yeah.
But I like him in most stuff. Like that's really nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked his character. I just thought it was a cool character, like an action, like cop actor that dies and then becomes the head of like the ghost police task force.
Yeah, like
I thought that was a cool character.
I like William Dafoe, but again, there's just like so many characters that we did not even need that just weren't.
It's like, why is Beetlejuice the boss of like all these Bobs? And why are their names Bob? Was his name Bob in the original? Like, it's such a small scene in the original. Well, like the guy that's just sitting next to him in the waiting room.
I think
the voodoo guy's like sprinkling the stuff on his head to shrink his head, which Beetlejuice doesn't have a shrunken head anymore. How did he get out of that? How the Bobs still have shrunken heads and he doesn't have a shrunken head? There's problems. In closing, I think this should be Tim Burton's last movie. I just don't think he has it anymore. At all. Just end it. Don't even do the next Beetlejuice. Let somebody else handle it. Maybe Mike Flanagan can do it.
Oh my gosh.
I want him to do everything.
All right. Well, what are you gonna rate it?
There's things about the movie that make it pass as like an actual movie, I guess. I think it's got some good production value, and I like some of the special effects. They look good. I'll give it a 2. I'll be somewhat kind.
Okay.
I'll give it a 2 out of a 5.
Okay. So I always struggle with rating because I think about like other movies and what I gave it, and then I compare, and then I'm like, oh, is that fair? But I don't know. I think as of right now, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's the second worst movie of the year behind Roadhouse. I would put Roadhouse as number 1.
Gotcha.
But I did not like this movie at all. But that's our review, guys. Look, if you liked it, we're happy for you. Let us know in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.